Play the lottery with Jackpocket. What's Jackpocket? Jackpocket is the lottery app that lets you play New Jersey lottery games right on your phone. People have won over $5 million playing the lottery on Jackpocket. Download Jackpocket and get a free Mega Millions ticket using promo code CASH. Jackpocket. Play the New Jersey lottery on your phone. Must be 18 or older to play. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Please visit jackpocket.com/TOS for full terms of service.
I chose Tulane's Executive MBA program as a means to gain skills in business law, management, finance, and value creation. Almost immediately after graduation, I was promoted to a Chief Judge role. Now, I am Chief Judge Tamia Gordon.
Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys in offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Shorten Associates, legal recruiters in Louisiana and Texas. And by Orange Theory Fitness, delivering fitness results for a healthier world.
From Commander's Palace Restaurant in the Garden District in New Orleans, we're out to lunch with Peter Asciutti. Peter Asciutti is Tulane University's A.B. Freeman School of Business professor and director of the award-winning Birkenroad Reports. It's business, New Orleans style.
Hi, I'm Peter Asciutti. Welcome to Out to Lunch. There was a time in New Orleans that if you told someone you were moving into your new office, it was probably in Houston or Atlanta. In the 1990s, whole office buildings in New Orleans were empty. Leasing companies were in a kind of reverse bidding war, underselling each other to attract tenants. A significant number of storefronts downtown and on Magazine Street were boarded up. And that was before Hurricane Katrina brought us to our knees. Those darker days are now dim memories. Today, business in New Orleans is booming. Companies are moving here. Businesses that are already here are growing. And even in a very tough nationwide retail environment, compared to other cities, there are not a lot of storefronts for lease here. Through this boom and bust cycle, corporate Realty has remained one of the preeminent commercial real estate companies in the city. Their clients include Tulane University, Capital One Bank, DXC Technology, and the sale of the Place St. Charles building with its 1 million square feet of office space. The president of Corporate Realty is Mike Siegel. Mike, welcome Out to Lunch.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Okay, so you're moving into your new office in New Orleans. You've negotiated a lease for the space. You've got 1,000 or 10,000 square feet. You've got 10 or maybe 1,000 employees. Now you need to work out a floor plan for your new office. You need furniture. You need to get services like phones and internet hooked up and networked throughout the new space. You need to clean up after the previous tenants. And you need to juggle between the new space and your current place while you're keeping your daily business running. How do you pull this off? Well, one thing you could do is call Bart's Office Incorporated. Moving you into a new office is exactly what they do. Some of the clients Bart has worked with recently to move them into their new space include the Four Seasons Hotel and the new International Airport. Bart's is a woman-owned and operated business. The company's CEO is Ashley Thibodeau. Ashley, welcomed Out to Lunch.
Hi, thank you for having me. Excited.
Mike, Corporate Realty is a real estate company. You don't develop property or own buildings. You sell and lease commercial real estate on behalf of sellers, buyers, and owners. Most of us are familiar with residential real estate agents. We know we pay them a commission when they sell our house, and we pay them a fee when they rent an apartment. But because everyone needs a place to live, a residential real estate agent can list and sell enough houses to become very wealthy. But far fewer of us need commercial space, so there are fewer opportunities for commercial real estate agents to make a commission, and commercial realty is more specialized and demanding than residential. So what attracts a person to commercial real estate over residential? Can you become a wealthy star commercial agent the way there are wealthy star residential agents? Would I see your picture on a building?
I hope so.
Okay.
No, I don't. I hope not. Not necessarily. No, there's a big difference. I mean, and it's more anecdotal than factual, but I mean, I think residential tends to be a little bit more emotional. Commercial tends to be a little bit more business-oriented. I think the commissions, if you look at the commission percentages, they're probably pretty similar, but when you look at the dollar volume of commercial deals, they can be very low, but they can also be very high. So, I mean, I think you can make just as much money in commercial, get just as much, have just as much success in commercial. It's just at a different level and different level of expertise.
And you've made a point of not focusing on one particular industry the way some people do. Why?
Well, I think New Orleans, and whether it's real estate or whatever, you have to be a little bit of a generalist. You know, we're still, for all of our success, a relatively small town. So if you're in Chicago, you can represent tenants only, you can represent law firms only, and you can do it in one part of town, and there's enough business. Here, you've got to be a little bit of a generalist. You can't say you're tenant rep only or landlord only or work in one part of town, because we're just not a big enough community. So you have to be a little bit of a generalist and work on multiple kinds of property. But I still describe myself, you know, even though I'm president of the company, I've been doing this way too long, I'm still an office leasing specialist. So that's my core expertise besides running the company, working on investment deals, retail deals, consulting with the convention center and whatever. But you got to be a little bit broader than that in New Orleans. And I think it's true not just in real estate.
You are the handsome face of this firm.
Yeah.
That's what people say.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Ashley, I was thinking maybe you could explain to us how your company works by way of a case study. We could take a look at how you worked with one of your clients, say MSY, the New Orleans airport. How did that go? Are you sitting at your desk one day and the phone rings and it's someone saying, hey, we're going to need a few desks and a couple of counters, and probably an internet hookup. We're moving into a new airport. Can you walk us through how Bart's office worked to move the old airport to the new airport?
So we were involved very early on with the operations of the airport. So when they started the construction of the new airport, we were brought in to do all of the concourse seatings, the concessions, different office space. We outfitted all of those with furniture from an installation perspective. From there, that kind of opened the door for us to have the exposure to do the relocation for MSY. It was, a bid package that went out to about, I think there were 10 other bidders in the room. They were looking for things like general performance, capabilities, and then exposure to be able to do, perform the feats. I mean, it was leading up to the move, we had 40 people on site for 7 days where we moved non-essential, non-critical path items. So then leading up to the move, we had an overnight move of 70 people moving we started at 6 p.m. and worked till 4 a.m. And we moved everything that was critical path from the old airport to the new airport. So taking things that were essential for flights, for, people to check in, for, just their general operations had to stay live at the old airport until we moved, to the new airport. So, when I say we drove across the runway, we literally drove trucks from the old airport to the new airport, across the runway, escorted, of course. But all the while they shut down the old airport. So the last flight left from the old airport at around maybe 6 p.m. and that's when we started operations. And then they picked up at the new airport. So starting at 8 p.m., flights were coming into the new airport. So it wasn't like they just shut everything down. They still had to start receiving flights at the new airport while we were operationally moving the airport. So it was a tandem effort. We worked with a lot of government agencies. We worked with, we were subcontracted through a firm that actually moves airports all over the world.
That's what I was going to say. This has got to be your first airport.
Yes, it was definitely our first airport. I think it was anyone in New Orleans' first airport.
And was it scary? Companies like to push the envelope a little bit, but this was really pushing it.
So I would say going into it, it was a little bit daunting. You think, how is this even possibly going to happen? You're talking an overnight move. You're talking about, 40 guys, every day, like 5 to 7 trucks, just operationally moving things from each airline. And you kind of try to wrap your brain around that for a second and think, just how are we going to really accomplish this? But like I said, we worked with a firm that was does this all over the world. We had tons of pre-planning meetings. We met with them. We talked logistics. We talked, what was feasible, what could actually happen, what our capacity was, what, the airport's capacity was. MSY was completely engaged. The local government agencies were completely engaged. It went off, when I say to the T, like execution was perfect. It pretty much couldn't have gone any better.
Thanks for bringing in those really cool restaurants.
Yeah,
really appreciate it. That's funny. You're talking about the kind of that 2-hour window, but when did the whole process start that you were brought in on?
So we were, I think it was 6 weeks in advance. And we started doing those kind of non-essential, non-critical path items. So we would basically, we would report to the airport, and of course it's busy, so there's people everywhere. We have our pre-meets with our crews, and we're saying, like, guys, this is operational. You have to understand, people are coming to the airport, they're not paying attention to you. So you have to be thinking for everyone here, because people are stressed, they're worried about missing a flight, they're trying to get somewhere in a hurry, they're on their phones, and you're moving furniture, and so you just have to be very mindful of that. We early on, I told the guys, I was like, we're going to be part of history. This is unprecedented. This has never happened before, and will probably never happen again. In our children's and grandchildren's lifetimes.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be saying, Mom did this,
yeah,
Grandma put that together.
So we are a part of history right now, in the making. We are literally making history as we speak. And that can go down as infamous as we wanted to, or as just spectacular as we wanted to.
As personal mention, you did a great job. That's and Mike, I'd be remiss if I didn't. I think this is what people are asking me to ask: is what about like the WeWorks of the world? How does are you involved in any of that? And not necessarily as a company, but the concept of it. What do you think?
Well, I think the idea of co-working space is here to stay. I think people want more collaborative space. I think that there's already a handful of operations in New Orleans that are successful. I think WeWork is successful. They just had a bit too much hubris, in my opinion. And it's a good cautionary tale. No matter how successful you are, you got to kind of watch all of the aspects of your business. But co-working, there's some great operations here. I don't know if anybody has seen the shop at the CAC. They took the third and fourth floors of the CAC.
Is that
spectacular thing?
Is that Matt Schwartz's program?
Yeah, Matt Schwartz and Chris
great.
Papamichael did it, and it's in the Contemporary Art Center building, and it's 2 floors. Very WeWork-ish, except a better version, I think.
But a better balance sheet.
A bit, and they're completely filled, and they're looking at other opportunities. So I think it's here to stay. If I had a smaller shop and had 1 or 2 people, I think being in a co-working space is cool. You're there with a lot of other people all the time. You have shared facilities. It's fun. It's interesting.
Yep.
Yet it's like me.
That's what I was thinking. Hey, now, what are you thinking going forward, let's say, for the next decade? What are some of got the airport done, thanks to Ashley, and but what about, what are the other big projects that you're looking down at?
Well, I think there's a handful of it's an overused word, but transformative projects taking place in New Orleans right now. And I don't say these because we're involved with all of them, but the ones that I know about. The redevelopment of the 47 acres or the development of the 47 acres by the convention center, that's a whole neighborhood. When does any city get 47 acres basically on the riverfront abutting their convention center? So, that's going to get redeveloped in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years.
And part of that is that new hotel?
There's a hotel that is kind of carved out that's a 1,200-room hotel, but there's another 39 acres that they have developers competing for, and it's an exceptionally strong good list of developers, so that's going to be transformative. I think the charity hospital redevelopment that has been sitting empty since Katrina, they also went through a competitive process. They've selected a developer. The developer is starting to execute on their plans. That's 1 million square feet and probably $400 million. And it's right in the middle of it's kind of the hole in the middle of the donut. Everything's going on around it, and it's been a bombed out area for, frankly, since Katrina. So I think that changes. I think that's transformative. They're getting ready to spend $450 million redoing the Superdome.
Oh, yeah.
And so that whole Superdome, Champion Square, Loyola Quarter, I think is going to change. That's 3, those 3 projects are $1.5 billion, but, between them. And they're all interesting, mixed use.
Makes you want to stick around and see how this turns out, right?
It does. I want to be in the middle of all of it. I want to be in the room where it happens. Just like that. That's my homage to Hamilton, if anybody didn't know.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Peter Raschuti. I'm talking with Mike Siegel from commercial real estate company Corporate Realty and Ashley Thibodeau from Bart's Office. They're commercial office movers. We'll be right back after this very brief break.
Play the lottery with Jackpocket. What's Jackpocket? Jackpocket is the lottery app that lets you play New Jersey lottery games right on your phone. People have won over $5 million playing the lottery on Jackpocket. Download Jackpocket and get a free Mega Millions ticket using promo code CASH. Jackpocket. Play the New Jersey Lottery on your phone. Must be 18 or older to play. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Please visit jackpocket.com/TOS for full terms of service.
How to show up with Coca-Cola Energy. You're tired and you're thinking of canceling on your friends. Don't do it! Every time you cancel on a friend, a unicorn loses its horn and becomes a regular horse. Do you really want that on your conscience? Instead, grab an ice-cold can of Coca-Cola Energy with delicious Coke taste and reinvigorating energy. Keep the unicorns alive! Show up every day with Coca-Cola Energy. Energy you want, taste you love.
Sierra, you've been my best mom friend through bake sales and PTA and wanna be my Galentine?
Okay. What do Galentines do?
They go to JCPenney's jewelry sale and get something sparkly.
Shop your heart out at JCPenney. Get fine jewelry for you or your Valentine at up to 70% off. And shop select Liz Claiborne apparel at 40% off. Plus, you can always check jcp.com for coupons to save even more. JCPenney. Offers valid through 2/16. Exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Hi, I'm Josh, and I just scored an amazing deal at Sprint. A brand new 32-gig iPad Gen 7 completely on them. All I had to do was add unlimited data for $25 per month on my new line with AutoPay. Can you believe it? A new iPad on Sprint. Visit a Sprint store now through February 16th to learn more. iPad $0 after 1917 monthly credit for 24 months credit applied within 2 bills. Requires new phone line and account. If you cancel early, remaining balance due. Plan with AutoPay excludes taxes, fees, and roaming coverage and offer not available everywhere. Speed maximums, use rules, data deprioritization during congestion, and restrictions apply.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Peter Raschuti. I'm talking with Mike Siegel from commercial real estate company Corporate Realty and Ashley Thibodeau from Bart's Office. They're commercial office movers. Ashley, he was talking about projects, and I think some of your bigger projects are like this where you have to do an RFP or a request for proposal. Does being a woman-owned firm help in that area?
Yes, it does. We're also...
By the way, it's a pretty macho business you're in, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I picture big
little.
Guys with those belts on.
I think
from
we're
Home
the only
Depot.
women in the city that currently, own and operate a commercial relocation company. So it's interesting. I enjoy it. I like the dynamic because I bring a different element to the table. So it usually is kind of jarring to people at first, and then they're kind of like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. As far as the RFP process and being a WBE, a certified women-owned business, that does help in a lot of cases. Probably the more impactful certification that we do have is DBE. So we are a certified DBE federally and locally. That was impactful when we were very useful. Disadvantaged business enterprise. So that was a big factor in the airport relocation. All of the stuff leading up to, like the concessions, they wanted DBE firms because they want to promote DBE. The city was looking to promote DBE firms just to cultivate, those firms and try to grow them and, try to help develop them. So we were part of that. And then, Four Seasons, again, they have, some DBE requirements tied to, certain things for the developer and for the ownership that are very lucrative. So they want to, and again, the feel-good side of it is they're helping these smaller businesses kind of really grow and cultivate their businesses. So
I was thinking of a question we were getting ready for this show is, a lot of times you'll be moving into an empty space, but sometimes you're moving into a space that already has furniture that I assume the existing company maybe doesn't want. What happens there?
So we actually have a very good decommission process. We partner
with ships. You decommission the furniture?
Oh,
that's what I love. That's
yes.
a great term.
Yeah. So right.
Yeah.
So yes, we decommission the furniture. We basically go through for a lot of our corporate clients. They like to do the green initiatives process, which is zero to a landfill. So we assist them with that process. We have a network of around 4,000 nonprofits that we can reach out to at the click of an email to say, hey, we've got this, all of this product. Do you have a need? And then we manage that process of getting those, useful items to those nonprofits, those small businesses.
So who would those nonprofits
schools.
be? Places like a thrift shop, like a Salvation Army?
No, directly with, just any nonprofit working in the city. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head.
So would they be sellers of that furniture, or would
they would actually utilize the furniture themselves. We work with a ton of schools, and basically schools, we did a donation to a school that works with special needs children, and we just dropped off to them yesterday. And I mean, they called us and they were just like, this is amazing. The stuff that these schools take and really truly appreciate is just totally overwhelming, because you look at it and these are things that we go, as part of our decommission process, we do what we call like a recycling effort. So we put out these huge bins, and we have donation, we have disposal, and then we have reuse. So the donation items are anything that has any kind of useful life left in it, paper, Post-its, pens, highlighters, whatever, binders, and we take those boxes and just, drop the whole entire box off to a school, and they absolutely love it, because there's tons of stuff in there that they can use that they now don't have to purchase or don't even have the means to purchase. So it's an added layer to our decommission process that we offer directly in assistance and in accordance with our corporate clientele that are also facilitating this process, because they understand that it's not going to be as inexpensive if they were to just say, get it out of here and just, take it, to disposal. But, my pitch to them is, hey, it is kind of an offsetting cost, because if I have to throw this stuff away, it doesn't end when I put it on my truck, because then I've got disposal cost. But
the companies are probably glad to do it. It makes them feel good about getting rid of stuff that has still has some utility to it. It does. And if you're going to try to resell it, from my experience, it's worth pennies or nickels on the dollar, so it's not worth it. So it either goes in the trash. But if you can get, recycled, repurposed, that's just like all the office buildings in New Orleans get repurposed.
Yeah,
exactly. That's a good one. That's what life, that's what we need to be doing more of, and not throwing everything in the landfill.
It's really a win-win-win. It's a win for our clients. It's a win for the people that we're, donating the items to, and it's a win for us, because, we're not throwing this stuff in a landfill. We're being very responsible with these items, and then I feel good, I know my warehouse manager stresses, because when we do decommissions, some of that balance of that stuff's going to hit our warehouse. And so I'm saying, no, we can't throw anything away, and he's like, well, this place is getting pretty full,
Well, what a great sustainability issue. Mike, do people talk to you more about green issues when they're looking at some space?
Yes. I would not say it's the top thing on most companies' list, but the bigger the company, the more the national companies, international companies, it's absolutely something they think about. And the local companies that are the bigger companies, the Tulanes of the world, it is part and parcel of who they are now. And they don't make moves, and when they look at designing buildings or moving into office space, they want it to be LEED certified, they want their space to be LEED certified. So it's a much bigger deal, and it should be. So I think it's just another thing that you have to think about when again, difference between commercial and residential, back to your original question, there's a lot more to it than just where am I going to live. There's a lot of bells and whistles and nuances that you
something
think
you
about.
didn't talk about 39 years ago when you started.
We if it was a green building, that meant it was the green in color. That probably is about what it meant.
By the way, you two guys should know each other, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then the way it works here is, because we have a kind of a limited revenue stream, is that when you do business together, we get 1%.
Okay.
So it's just wanted to run that by, get it right out there.
1%, that's not bad. I wouldn't work for 1%. We get a lot more than that.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Peter Raschuti. I'm talking with Mike Siegel, president of commercial real estate company Corporate Realty, and Ashley Thibodeau, CEO of the woman-owned and operated commercial office moving company Bart's Office. Mike and Ashley, this is the part of the show we call your brother-in-law. You're sitting at your desk answering email when your phone rings, and it's your brother-in-law. He normally only calls when he needs to borrow your chainsaw, but this time it's different. This time he has a business idea for you. I'll start with you, Ashley. Your brother-in-law says you have so many organizational skills, you could use them to do other things that would pay vastly more money than moving offices. For example, producing movies. It's exactly the same thing as you're doing every day, except for it's more fun and more lucrative. Your brother-in-law says there's lots of film production in Louisiana, and he's prepared to quit his job and head up Bart's Entertainment. What do you tell him? Is your brother-in-law onto a good idea for diversification?
I think in that capacity, I would have to say, you're really undervaluing the glamorous aspect of commercial relocation.
Good point.
You've totally just undermined it, and I really have to, kind of bring you into the fold here and really show you.
Because there's relocation stars, they have paparazzi
it's sexy.
too, just like movie stars.
We're just redefining how that looks. It's not the big burly man anymore. It's
you're a good example.
Right, I know.
That is.
We do have female, installers, female movers. One of our, she is related to me, but one of our best, that I would pit against anyone, doing this is my sister Alexi, and she gets in and runs all of our big, high-profile projects. And she, like I said, I would put her against anyone in this industry to say, I'd like to see you run it better. So
kind of a moving Olympics. I like the whole picture
right,
of that.
I know. We should have that.
That'd be great. Carrying the Herman Miller chair will be
the trophy. We'll get that. The Heisman would be, some sort of like Knoll product.
I like how you came about this too. Instead of degrading the movie industry, you pumped up the commercial moving industry. That's so great. That's going to work out. Now, Mike, your brother-in-law has a great idea for corporate realty: content marketing. Everybody you rent or sell has a business story, whether it's great news that they're expanding or not so great news that they're downsizing or really anything in between. Your brother-in-law says that what you should do is take the most interesting clients, sit down with them in their new space with a couple of microphones and a digital recorder and make a podcast. It would be kind of like a commercial real estate version of Out to Lunch. And your brother-in-law doubts that we here at INO Broadcasting would sue you. So what do you tell your brother-in-law? Is a content marketing podcast a good idea?
First, I would give him your phone number. I'd say, please call Peter Raschuti. That's been done. He's good at it, and that's not what we're good at. I'm just going to stick to what I'm good at. But thanks for the idea, and let's go get a drink or dinner or lunch sometime.
Okay, all right.
And then I would move on pretty quickly.
A lot of my ideas kind of go like that. But it'd be interesting to be kind of a great ad for you in that, to talk to people about, how they made their decisions and all that. I'm sure other people in commercial real estate would like to.
Well, look, we used to do a lot of testimonials, and you get to the end of a deal and you kind of want to do what happened, why did it happen, why did we get chosen. But honestly, we're busy doing what we do every day and don't have very much time to market ourselves, so I don't do very much of that anymore. But it's a good story. It's a good idea, Peter.
Okay, it's just a matter of time.
Was that a pitch?
Yeah, it was. 5 years from now, you're going to be on the show this changed our whole business.
Right.
We are no longer selling real estate.
And you're going to be doing it for us, I hope.
I like how you did his accent.
No. That wasn't Mike. Wait, Mike is from Alabama.
Do I have a southern accent?
No. There's
If I had a couple of drinks, I would.
All right, and that's why they're 25 cents here, these martinis. I've
only been here 40 years, so
to get back,
you should have heard it 40 years ago.
To get back to where you were going, though, you actually have something that is kind of a non sequitur, right? Kind of is it a magazine?
No, we do a monthly mailer all about food.
Which is a natural.
That's a natural with real estate. Now, we
for people
so
that eat buildings.
This goes back to what you got to do, what you're good at, or work on what you're good at. So we used to do a newsletter. We were terrible at it. I mean, you got to do it every month. You got to decide what to write, and we did it, and then we'd miss a few months. So we finally said, what we can do at least each month is send something to all of our clients on all the transactions we did for the previous month. But we said nobody really likes to read about that, so we want to wrap it around food. We're friends with, luckily, the people at Commander's Palace. Went to them 21 years ago and said, look, every month we're going to send out our deal announcements, but can we get a recipe from Commander's Palace?
That's sneaky.
And so we went to T, and she said absolutely, and we worked with them, and we started out the first year. We'd send out a monthly mailer, and it would be a recipe from Commander's inside of a glassine envelope with all of our transactions for the previous month. So people like reading about food in New Orleans, at least I do. And so now for the last 21 years, we've done a different restaurant or a different chef or a different theme, whether it's French Quarter restaurants or Magazine Street restaurants or restaurants in Birmingham or chef's favorite gumbo recipes or anything. So it's been fun. So we are, I tell everybody.
That's odder than my idea, right?
I tell everybody that, real estate is our business and food is our passion. So this is perfect to be sitting here. We just got served some delicious looking piece of fish, and nothing I'd rather be doing.
And Ashley, I always like to ask this question. It's a family business. Your dad started the business, and you were originally kind of furniture repair, was it?
Yes. So in the 1978 year, my father
just invented furniture. I remember.
Well, right, exactly. So my father was actually working for the only furniture dealer in town, which is Dameron Pearson at the time, and he was installing furniture. So after a few years, he realized that there was a real calling or a real need from these clients that needed furniture repaired. So basically, with his company's Dameron Pearson's blessing and customer list, he went out and opened up his own business. One of our first customers that we opened our doors with was Entergy. We are still a customer. We're still, they're still our customer, 40 plus years later. And we have slowly evolved over the generations and over the decades into, commercial relocation, furniture installation, warehousing, logistics. We have recently added on appliance installation, hotel FF&E, as well as we do deliveries to site for construction. So for the Four Seasons, for instance, what we're doing at this time, because they're not ready for the FF&E or the appliance installation, is we are warehousing their historic elements. So there's items from the Four Seasons that they are going to be getting, certain tax credits for keeping and repurposing in the new development. So we are taking those things and they're stored in our warehouse. And then we also deliver to their construction schedule. So we take delivery of their elevator equipment, and per their construction schedule, we deliver these things to site as they need it. So it's a very niche market for construction firms, because a lot of times they don't have the space on site. Some of their subcontractors won't be able to house these items. Obviously, I'm sure the elevator people don't have, a 30,000 square foot warehouse to just, store stuff in. So it's a really good market for us that we're really getting, we're branching out into currently. And it's a good, support to the construction firms that are doing business here locally.
And you're a family business, so I think I'm going to know the answer to this question. But when you were a little girl, did you work in the business?
Oh, yes. This is back before child labor laws were really stringent. But we used to go out on job sites, and my dad would have us sort screws. And one of the things, my sister Courtney really remembers is kind of going out into a job site and him almost putting her in charge of something, and that just really being very impactful for her. She's branched off and she's doing her own business now, and as she talks about that experience and how it kind of made her who she was and kind of set that expectation of how she was gonna build her own business, so those types of things where it's really beneficial for kids at a young age to just be involved, because you get just a different perspective of life in general. So,
and Mike, we talk about the ebbs and flows of business in here, but when things are stable and doing well, sort of like they are now, do people still move offices?
Yeah, that's the beauty of office space and leasing. Every 3 years or 5 years or whenever a lease rolls around, they have to do something. They don't have to move, but they have to renew. But so, it's kind of a never-ending cycle. If you have good listings, if you have good clients, you don't sell a building and it's done. You represent tenants, you represent landlords, and it's the ability to continue to work with those clients, every 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and have a lot of residual work to do.
And
it's good.
Now, let's put this out really to both of you. How do you market yourselves? Do you just have ESP and know when somebody's thinking about moving, or how does it work? Do you wait by the phone or something else?
Actually, I was listening to your other podcast about now the AI just knows what you're thinking.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. You can bring him in.
So I rely on Allie. We also have very eye-catching trucks. So the pink and black trucks, our boxes are pink. Our guys wear pink shirts. So it's very just eye-catching. The marketing, Courtney actually, put that. I remember when she came to me, our boxes were brown, and she said, we should do pink boxes. And I said, I don't know. I don't think our clients are going to like that. And she was like, no, we're doing it. And she forced it. And now it's just, you go into the office and it's, you can't miss them. That's what you see. Same thing with the trucks. Our trucks are very eye-catching. People think that we have more than we have because they see them everywhere. I constantly get people taking pictures and sending me, oh, hey, I see you. Are you driving the truck? I'm like, no, I'm not driving the truck.
Wave at you.
Yeah,
Ashley.
I know, like, hey.
There's
Right.
And Mike, what about yourself? Is there I wouldn't say a rumor mill or whatever, but is there somewhere where everybody kind of knows where companies are going and what their intentions are?
No.
Okay. You really need that.
One of the big differences.
I would actually say that we work with one of his agents, and when people call us and we know they haven't called her, we definitely give her the heads up.
It's a lot of referral business and a lot of direct one-on-one marketing. You got to call on people. I mean, you can't sit and wait for the phone to ring. But unlike residential, there's not a MLS, a multi-list system where everything is on there, all the information, you know what's going on. So you got to get out there, you got to be in the market, you got to network, you get referrals, and you've got to have a lot of market knowledge, and then you go out and chase the business. I mean, I tell everybody, no matter how busy you are, you have to be out there prospecting, and no matter how slow you are, you have to be out there prospecting. So it's going out there to chase business like most businesses.
And Mike, there must be something that's analogous to a pink box for you. That's what you're missing.
We need a pink box. We're gonna change. When you go down Magazine Street next time, our signs, instead of being black and gold, are gonna be pink.
Oh, that's great. It was done here.
They'll get us marriage.
More good ideas out of Commanders. This is so great. Even if every single business moved online, all of the goods they sell would still have to be warehoused somewhere, and every robot and person who works on orders and deliveries would still have to work somewhere. So whichever direction the future of business goes, there's always going to be a need for office space and commercial real estate. So, Ashley and Mike, you seem to have plenty of job security.
I actually have said in the past that we're almost recession-proof, because whether companies are expanding and getting new space and getting new furniture, or expanding their customer base, or if they're compressing and they're needing to get into a smaller space, either way they need relocation services. So they're going to need us to get them out of that space. They're going to need us to get them in that space, to get the new furniture, to get rid of the old furniture. So by that dynamic, we have, we're kind of dynamic, and we can move in a lot of directions, which kind of keeps us pretty busy.
So I will not worry about you.
Yeah, I would say the same thing in a different manner. I mean, residential real estate, you can get a lot of the information off of MLS, and you see a lot more direct sales and circumventing brokers, which I don't necessarily think is a good thing. But on the commercial side, it's a lot more about the expertise and the experience and the nuances. So I don't think that commercial real estate is going to go anywhere for a long time. Hopefully, at least not for the next 8 or 10 years.
So you retire,
right.
Then I'm out.
Right.
It has been great to get to talk to you. Thank you both for taking the time to join me today on Out to Lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
This was great.
My guests on Out to Lunch today have been Ashley Thibodeau, CEO of Bart's Office, and Mike Siegel, President of Corporate Realty. If you want to know what we look like, you can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our Out to Lunch social media. These photos were taken today by Jill LaFleur. You can find more of Jill's photos at lafleurphoto.com. Out to Lunch is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com and WWNO 89.9 FM. The producer of our show is Grant Morris, our technical producer is Eric Merle, and our researcher is Maggie Mendel. I'm Peter Raschuti. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to meeting you again next week around the table here at Commander's Palace for more business, New Orleans style, on Out to Lunch.
Out to Lunch is recorded live over lunch at Commander's Palace in New Orleans. Commander's Palace serves lunch Monday to Friday, jazz brunch on Saturday and Sunday with live music, and dinner 7 nights a week. Mitchell Foreman wrote and performs all the music on Out to Lunch. You can hear Mitchell's music anywhere great jazz is sold or streamed, and at mitchellforeman.com. Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys in offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Short & Associates, legal recruiters in Louisiana and Texas. And by Basics Swim and Gym and Basics Underneath Fine Lingerie, the It's New Orleans Happy Hour podcast. And by Orange Theory Fitness, delivering fitness results for a healthier world.
Play the lottery with Jackpocket. What's Jackpocket? Jackpocket is the lottery app that lets you play New Jersey lottery games right on your phone. People have won over $5 million playing the lottery on Jackpocket. Download Jackpocket and get a free Mega Millions ticket using promo code CASH. Jackpocket. Play the New Jersey lottery on your phone. Must be 18 or older to play. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Please visit jackpocket.com/TOS for full terms of service.